Mani sauc Alise, man ir 20 gadi, un es esmu no Latvijas. The first Latvian ancient tribes settled around the Baltic Sea, which is where Latvia is located, around 3000 BC. But the country only became independent, technically independent, in 1918, 18th of November. So last year was actually Latvia's 100th birthday. Before 1918, Latvia was constantly occupied by the Russians, Lithuanians, the Polish, the Swedish. But even through all of that, the kind of the culture and the spirit remained there. All the pagan traditions and the language and everything. And then until 1939, Latvia was free. And then 1940, the Soviet Union came in with their tanks, June 14th, when they came into Riga and basically just occupied Latvia. And then World War II happened, and I don't remember again the exact years. I think it was 1941 to 1944. It was occupied by the Nazis. And then during the Soviet times, they deported thousands of people to Siberia. Thousands of people were killed and shot. And it continued. After 1944, the Russians came back in, reoccupied Latvia, and we remained occupied until 1991. I believe 1986, I think, is when the singing revolution started, which is the revolution that basically brought the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, their freedom from the Soviet Union. We joined the European Union in 2004, and that's where we've been ever since. So one positive thing that the Soviet Union left behind would be like I mentioned before, the love and appreciation for your culture. So every 5 years we have a song and dance festival. It's called Dziesmu Svētki, where it's a week-long event. So there's things happening through the entire week. But the main events are at the end of the week. There's a dance festival where thousands of people gather and do the folk dancing. And then there's the big concert, the final concert, where around 15,000 people gather to sing choir songs, and the dancers join in with dancing, and it's a celebration for the entire nation. The tickets get sold out in a matter of hours, so it's just a very big, important thing. And even though a lot of songs were banned during the occupation, people would still sing them after the official part was over. So it's always just been a big part of the country and preserving our independence and our national identity and all of that. My mom is Latvian. She's lived in Latvia all of her life. And she used to tell me about what it was like living during those times, and how she was personally involved. And I mostly remember two things. She told me about my great-grandmother. She hated the Russians so much that she would openly cuss at them when she was in public, and everybody was scared that she was going to get deported to Siberia, but for some reason she didn't, so that's good. And then in 1991, we had to protect the center of our city, so the TV tower, the government building, and one other building from the Soviets. So we got news from Lithuania, I believe it was January, that tanks were coming into the city, I think it was Vilnius, and just driving over people, trying to regain power over the Baltic nations. So everybody acted accordingly. People got together super quickly, brought in any technology, it was cement blocks, anything you could find to build barricades around the important buildings and stuff around the city. And they would gather inside those barricades around bonfires, and people would make tea, would make food for everybody. They would sing and just sit there and wait to see what's going to happen.
Savu tēvu zem,
My mom was there all of the days except for the last day, which is when the shooting happened. Two of those people were TV operators who were actually filming everything that was happening. And yeah, my mom was there for the 3 days, but she luckily was not there on the last day. All in all, I definitely think that growing up in a post-Soviet country has impacted the way I am as a person, the way I grew up. And it has, as I said, both positive and negative sides. The positive is definitely the love for your country and being proud of who you are, and actually wanting to teach everybody else about your culture. But then again, the isolation for so many years has made it kind of difficult to adjust to being in a more culturally diverse environment, which is what happened when I came here, as I said. So I think there's both positives and negatives to this, and if I was born as an American, there's a lot of stuff that I could learn from Latvians, and as a Latvian, there's so much that I'm learning from Americans here. So I think it's just different perspective. Un saules mūžs Latvijai.